Hey guys, welcome to Jenna X. I'm your host, Jenna, and today I'm joined by Matt Morgan. He is the CEO and founder of Cannaland. Matt is a serial entrepreneur and huge name in the cannabis industry. So we're going to discuss all things Cannaland Metaverse, their upcoming NFT collection, education, and regulation. So let's get started. Welcome, Matt. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Matt. Before we hop into Cannaland, could you please share just a little bit about your background, work experiences, and achievements with our listeners?
Yes, of course, happy to. So I've been as cliche as it sounds, a serial entrepreneur. Been involved in my own business since I was 20, dropped out of college after 10 days. And so the story goes. So I got involved in cannabis full time in 2008, so pretty early on. And just to kind of give you guys the elevator pitch on it, from 2010 to 2018, I built over $1 billion in cannabis companies from an enterprise value. Number one 40 under 40 in cannabis in 2016 by several publications. Did some celebrity brands for Wiz Khalifa. Did Ignite for Dan Bilzerian. I had one of the largest verticals in the country in 2017 called Reef Dispensaries. So that's kind of my background on the cannabis side. On the blockchain technology side, started dabbling in crypto in 2016. Been an advisor to many blockchain centric companies. Started getting introduced to metaverse style things in 2020. And that's kind of when the light bulb went off about merging cannabis with digital online metaverse type of play.
That is insane. Wow. Absolutely blows my mind. So, Matt, how have your experiences in the medical marijuana industry helped to shape Cannaland?
So obviously, as an operator for I don't know, 15 years, I really got a firsthand knowledge of all of the nuances and challenges that cannabis operators have to go through. It's a very, very unique business in the aspect of, well, first of all, it's a rare business where you can control the product from raw material, or in this case, seed, all the way to consumer. Normally, the government doesn't allow you to do that because of monopolistic practices. So they break up the supply chain. Like with alcohol, you could never own everything, including the retail stores. Like Bud Light can't own the stores, right? So maybe that's a bad example with all the press going around, but Jack Daniels can't own the retail stores. So it's an early stage emerging industry, so that they haven't broken it up yet. I'm sure they will, but as of now, you can own the whole supply chain. So it really gives you great experience on how a full business works from raw material to consumer. And I thought that was cool. But the problem in the United States specifically is states have their own rights. The federal government does its thing. The federal government wants to control the states, but that's not how the Constitution is written. So there were certain states that were just like, these rules are stupid. This plant is very medicinal. It's not a Schedule 1 narcotic, which means that it's the worst of worst drugs. So the federal government's like, this is an evil plant. You're not allowed to do anything with it. You'll go to prison. You can go to prison for life for using it or growing it at a certain scale. And there's no medicinal value. It's in the same category as heroin and methamphetamines. And so the states are like, specifically California was like, no, we don't agree with that. We think that it's otherwise, and this is a great plant, and it can be used openly, and it has a ton of medicinal value. So they passed the first medical program in 1996, and that opened up the gateway to many other states following suit. And I think now 42 states have some sort of program, whether that's full legalization, where if you're 21 or over, you can use all products, or very controlled medical programs still. So, but the federal government has dug its heels in, and they're saying, we don't care. We don't agree with the 42 of your states. We're going to leave it as a Schedule 1 narcotic. So you're in this very odd situation where you could still technically go to prison for life for growing at a very large scale in cannabis by the federal government standards, but the state's saying, no, this is 100% okay. It's legal. We gave you a license to do it, and so have at it. The federal government has not come in and done anything really, because it would be the federal government versus you and whatever state you're in. So it'd be a state and government and federal government issue in court. So it's just been this awkward thing. So you can't get banking, you can't market it appropriately. No Wall Street money or institutional capital can enter the space. So there's just a lot of it's really strange. And like I've had, 100 Instagram pages deleted because I posted cannabis on there.
Wow.
You can't use Google AdWords. You can't post into most publications or billboards. You just have, you're really handcuffed from an operational standpoint in a lot of different ways. I've had to, I didn't have banking for a long time, and I had a big company. I had 500 employees, and I wasn't allowed to have banking, so I had to do everything in cash. It was a nightmare. I think my security team was like 48 people, and it's just one thing after another. So if we could do away with all of these operational inefficiencies by digitizing a lot of this, that's where I thought that it could make, it. And whenever you can use technology to solve a real world problem, it normally goes pretty well. So that's kind of, the long and the short of it.
So to elaborate on that, how does Cannaland solve that marketing issue? And how do mom and pop shops get involved in Cannaland?
So the way it solves a marketing issue is you can market however you want in Cannaland. You can do whatever you want. You can have whatever kind of store you want. There's really, it's left up to your imagination of how creative you want to come. You could fly a digital plane all over, Cannaland with your banner on it if you want, or you could maybe work a deal out to get to have one of the streets named after your cannabis company. And so we're doing the NFT sale 420. And then in May, we're going to plan on doing some land sales. So any mom and pop shop can go and start buying land with Ethereum and start, claiming their stake inside of this digital metaverse. And, if we do our jobs accordingly, hopefully a bunch of consumers start to pour in.
So you just mentioned the NFTs. Tell me more about the OG NFT Club.
So it's an exclusive club. It's going to give you access to different things that the general public's not going to have. It's going to give you first access to different drops, land sales, so on and so forth. And there's different tiers of the NFTs as well.
Okay, and this is going to be launched on the Cannaland.xyz site. And guys, I'm going to have all the links. They are all posted underneath of this video, so be sure to go and check that out. And can you go give us a rundown on how many of the NFTs there will be, and if you need a whitelist?
There is a whitelist. I believe it's on the website, and I believe there's 420 NFTs if I remember correctly.
Okay, guys. And there is also an article that I have posted below from Yahoo Finance with all the details of that NFT sale. So definitely urge you to check that out. That is a way to celebrate 420. And I noticed that you're actually having on your website a little bit of an NFT launch party for this going on, all different DJs and everything as well.
Yeah, so on 420, actually, I think it's starting around 5:30 or 6 Eastern. There's going to be a party inside of Cannaland, of the first digital metaverse for cannabis. There's going to be a bunch of different DJs, myself, and actually the CEO. I'm just a founder, or the co-founder. So there is a CEO,
Okay.
Mark Bonner. So myself and him will actually be doing a Q&A at 6 p.m. Eastern on 420. And then it will just be a lot of entertainment and other things. So people can come and hang out, and it should be a great time. I think several hundred people have already enlisted to come to the event. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I just signed up on the RSVP. So hopefully they let me in. I'm trying to get in.
of course, they're gonna let you in. We'll make
I'm
sure
ready
of
to
it.
party. I know a guy. I should be able to get in,
Exactly.
right?
Just drop my name and you should be good.
Awesome, Matt. So let's go and talk a little bit more about your team and advisors, if you don't mind.
So we have Mark Bonner. He's the CEO, and he's a pro in microfinance business in actually Argentina, and he's helped finance and capitalize a lot of small companies and unbankable companies. So that obviously plays in hand here because most cannabis companies are not bankable. So his skill sets actually play in very well to what we're doing here, and he's been a great leader thus far. We have another director. We have Peter Christensen. And he is also in the traditional banking. He's worked with JP Fund Services, and he's also been an advisor and participated in a lot of blockchain crypto ICOs and a marketplace as well. And he's also been involved in several cannabis projects in Europe. So again, his background is very credible and adds a lot of value to what we're doing here. We also have Joseph Messina, And he actually was a board member on the American Stock Exchange, but it got acquired by the New York Stock Exchange. So he's very, very versed in public markets. And, with his network and his experience, he's definitely been a very, very heavy hand in getting Cannaland to where it is today. We have Stephen Horgan, and he's been an executive for big brands that you've heard of: Coca-Cola, Coors, Miller, stuff like that. So he brings an extra set of, I would say, executive professionalism to our ecosystem of people, and he's really had a strong input into some of these very, very large brands. So hopefully, if we play our cards right, we will become a brand that's a household name at some point as well. And then we have Doug Christoph. He's been involved in a lot of global brand marketing, customer business development, sales, and he's done a lot with emerging brands. Obviously, we're an emerging brand, so he can help a lot there. He's also helped with Coca-Cola and Miller's, so he also has the big brand experience. So those are just some of our executives as well as our advisors, and they all bring experience from other verticals and success stories that really have gotten Cannaland to where it is today.
Wow, you have built such a strong team. That's incredible. Matt, I have a question for you about the token. So how will users and businesses in the metaverse ensure that their CNLT purchases, wholesale or retail, are being purchased by approved customers? In other words, are the CNLT tokens going to be used for real world MMJ and hemp derived products, or is it merely to drive the metaverse ecosystem and consumers will have access to other brick and mortar or online businesses through their native sites or stores?
So our aspirational goal is to obviously have the CNLT token become part of the real world and have it be a payment solution for the issues that operators are dealing with today. But for now, it will be centric to Cannaland, and obviously we're going to start rolling out phases, hopefully, where you can actually do online shopping in a Web3 format in Cannaland, so that you can do purchases of actual product, and if only from places that reside in your state, so you'll be geotagged. But in essence, you would have a much better online shopping experience, because about 1/3 of all cannabis transactions take place online now. So if we can make that a much more seamless experience through a Web3 type of format, that's our goal. And there will be a CNLT transaction there inside of our metaverse that we control. And hopefully one day, if all goes well, then this could actually become a digitized payment method inside of brick and mortar stores.
I believe I heard it was on another interview that you were on, and you spoke about having essentially like this AI metaverse bartender there to answer all of the questions. And I thought that's so smart, because when you go into a dispensary now, people have to wait in line. They have to, for the person ahead of them to answer all of the questions and everything like that. And I'm like, this is so much more efficient.
Yeah. So when we first came up with this idea back in, I think it was August of 2020, AI was nothing to where it is today, or at least the public hadn't seen where it was at. So now that GPT is launched and some other things, it's becoming much more realistic that you could have AI generated bud tenders instead of human beings that could answer the questions actually more accurately and more efficiently than an actual avatar run by a human. So that's been something that's been much more recent that this has come about, but we believe that in the near future, we will be able to have AI generated helpers inside of the metaverse to help different patrons with their products.
I absolutely love that idea so much. I think that is so smart. And I want to touch on education for a little bit, Matt. We know that education is a really important factor in the MMJ industry, as it's our task to undo decades of negative press about marijuana. And I know you touched on that earlier. Do you see Cannaland emerging as the go-to resource for compiled digital education on a global scale? And will you have an in-house legal and industry experts keeping up with the rapidly changing global landscape and regulatory framework?
Obviously, our goal is to eventually roll in-house legal, administrative, paralegals to handle the ever-changing landscape. And that's like one of the things I tell people: the only constant in cannabis is change, and it's such that you're shooting at a moving target at all times, which makes it which makes it fun, and your risk calculations are changing all the time. But So aspirationally, we'd love to get there, but we're just not there right now. We do have many attorneys, retainer that help us a lot because there are a lot of legal loopholes and frameworks we have to work through. But as of now, they don't work for us full time. As far as the educational aspect on the platform, our goal is to have classrooms for every and all things cannabis related. So if someone wants to learn how to grow a specific strain, there should be educational on that. If someone wants to learn how to make the best cannabis brownies or gummies or suckers or popsicles or whatever it may be, there should be classrooms on that. The issue with cannabis is it's been shoved in this box for so many years, like roughly 100, that the education just hasn't been there. And unfortunately, it's not taught in really, now it's just becoming more mainstream in places like Israel or so far in research. But the problem is like, so let's say that you're a medical patient and you use cannabis for a different ailment, whatever it may be, and you go to a doctor, you're like, hey, what do you think about this? So like, we don't really know. We don't know anything about it. We've never used it. We just prescribe pharmaceuticals and that's it. So there really hasn't been like a knowledge broker or a go-to place to find everything you want to know about cannabis. There's some nice little sites like Leafly and Weed Mouse, but they really don't give you like hands-on training and classes. And I bet you we could even get the teachers or the professors to be AI generated at some point. That just popped in my head. But I would like this to be because it's digital, so you can do what you want. I would like to see 500 classrooms going of completely different cannabis related subjects where their avatar can go in there and sit and learn. And it could be like the largest cannabis campus in the world for educating the consumer, or maybe you're a caregiver, or maybe you're just inside of the vertical somewhere somehow. So I would love to see it as the hub with many educational spokes.
That would be amazing. I just feel like I'm lucky that I get to watch this like grow and evolve, and that I found this project so early. So super grateful for that. And I think that's one of the best things about, the digital, like the revolution that we're in right now. We see so many things developing right before our eyes, and it is beautiful.
Crazy. It's happening faster and faster too. It's just like the NFTs started flying everywhere. Now it's AI and all this living on blockchains, and it's wild how fast we're progressing and evolving. And I just feel like the human species is having a hard time keeping up with technology. And I'm very thankful that there wasn't a lot of technology when I was a kid. I mean, nobody had a cell phone. So the 90s were great.
The living was easy. I had a Tamagotchi.
I had a Tamagotchi too when I was like in first or second grade. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Right. So another topic that I wanted to touch on while I have you is banking, right? Because that's a pain in the cannabis industry. So we know that it's currently disallowed in the United States, as cannabis is regulated by the federal government as Schedule 1 drug, which you did talk about. How do you intend to use CNLT to bridge the gap between traditional banking and digital assets for retailers and wholesalers that want to offer your token as a payment option? What would the infrastructure look like for a dispensary or a laboratory?
So, great question. Like I told you, I had a deal in a very large cannabis business doing 9 figures in revenue and cash. It was an absolute nightmare. How we're going to solve this problem is any transaction that happens inside of Cannaland will be a CNLT transaction. And then we have a handful of processors that can flip-flop between fiat and cryptocurrencies, like basically instantaneously. So once the transaction happens, you can actually flip that back to a USD transaction inside of the wallet, or whatever currency you want, Bitcoin, Ethereum, take your pick. And so there will be a seamless transaction, but the CNLT token will be the exclusive token that the transaction happens with inside of Cannaland. So if there's two guys in California, for example, that want to do a wholesale transaction, they could do that transaction inside of Cannaland, and then the processors would handle that, and then they could, allocate the funds wherever they need to go. Or if a consumer is inside of a digital dispensary inside of Cannaland and he buys the product, then it would be an exchange of CNLT tokens from one wallet to the dispensary's wallet. And then if they want to convert into another crypto or into USD or whatever denomination they're looking for, they can do so. And that will be centric to inside of Cannaland, which we believe will bring a lot of people into Cannaland in itself for the payment options. Obviously, I told you our goal would be over time to be able to bring that outside of the digital world and have it on your phone and actually use it as a payment source through processors and other things inside of the brick and mortar dispensaries. That would be a big goal for the company.
Matt, how do people get in touch with you? Like, let's say they want to have their store in Canland. Do they just buy the NFT and purchase in the land sale?
Yes, correct. So that'd be that. That's exactly how they'll start. Then they'll get with the developers,
Okay.
and they can start helping build out everything that they want to build out. But so you can get the NFTs now, or excuse me, on 420, and then you can just watch for the land sale. You'll be on the whitelist, and I believe the developer said we should be ready in May to do the land sale. And then from there everything starts, and you can start building out and everything else.
Awesome. I'm stoked for this. I know I have a lot of friends that are in the cannabis industry, and actually they have created gummy lines in Minnesota because we know they just got,
Yep.
the green thumb for that. So they're very interested in this, and I can't wait to share those details with them. Matt, is there anything else that you want to leave us with today? Anything that you're really excited about or that viewers should definitely know about this project?
I've been doing a lot of work in Europe, so I've obviously the States, it's been around for since 96, California. Europe started to come on board. It's about 15, 20 years behind America, but it's really cool to see the rest of the world following suit. Germany just announced they're going to legalize cannabis. It'll be the largest standalone market. So I've been a lot of folks been over there, but what's really cool is I feel like, Cannaland can tie everything together globally, and we can have one place where German people can hang out and Portuguese people can hang out and Americans can hang out, and just like it could bring all of the cannabis enthusiasts into one centric place to do transactions, to hang out, to get entertained, to get educated. So I'm just really excited as the world is coming to fruition on cannabis and saying, hey, this plant is medicinal. It helps so many people, millions of people. It's a lifestyle for some people. Like it's really cool to see it all come together. And now we have a digital world where people can actually connect in in the comfort of their own home.
Exactly. You can get stoned. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to worry
Yes,
about social anxiety. You can be introvert. You can go absorb as much as you want and roll out. I love it.
exactly. You nailed it.
Exactly, guys. So just to reiterate that, to get an RSVP to the event in the metaverse, the link is posted below. It's at cannaland.xyz/420 NFT. It is 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely don't miss that. And there are only 420 of those NFTs. So thank you so much, Matt, for making some time for me today to talk about this project. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Jenna.
it.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Take care.
Have a great day.